up a bit because Mini Mama typed Chesapeake and I read it as cheesecake.
Cheesecake!
Cheesecake! Everyone has
Cheesecake is
cheesecake.
delicious. Thanks for the sub, Broken. 8 months.
Wow.
Twitch baby's almost here.
Okay, I heard that. What?
Your Twitch baby? What Twitch baby?
Excuse me?
I don't know. Broken said that his Twitch baby's almost here, and I'm like, what's your Twitch baby?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I get it. See, I don't know anything about babies, so like I didn't even remember that 9 months is the gestation period of a human being. Um,
I was still so lost for a second. I'm like, with your Twitch baby, like, cause you got a sub? Cause the context was taken a bit out. Okay. It seems that I am finally live. Okay.
yeah, the Daily Claire, it seems like there's almost never a bad time to tune in because there's always like something awesome being mentioned. Yeah, cheesecake or buttholes. It never fails.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe with Jellyfish. Oh, you know what? I think
They don't have a butthole. We're not
Exactly,
gonna be
that's
able
what
to
I'm
talk
saying.
about buttholes.
I'm thinking this is the first time we wouldn't have to talk about butthole, but now we actually technically have.
We're talking about an animal that doesn't have a butthole.
Jellyfish do not have buttholes. They hurt like a butthole, but anyway, that made no sense. Okay, so we finally are live. Thank you for being patient, everyone, before my computer decided to destroy everything. Welcome to the stream, another Pawd Squad, and today we're going to be talking about Jellyfish. We're joined here again by KP as always, and Ray, our producer, and our moderators on my side, Tessa, and thank you to the moderators obviously on KP's side for joining us for our show. And we got how many? We got like 18 questions about Jellyfish. I'm scared to ask questions because most likely there's going to be questions that, like I must predict, there's going to be questions exactly to what everyone's going to be wanting to ask. But we'll go straight to that first question of Ray, get us started. Well, I still try and start things up.
Oh God.
Our first question is, what is the ecological place of jellyfish?
Oh. Okay, so I should also we should preface this entire thing with, by the way, I know almost nothing about jellyfish. So this is like it's like a lunch and learn, you know? So like pull up a snack, we're all gonna be learning together. But what I do know about that particular question is that apparently jellyfish are enormously abundant. So it I was reading some Australian scientists actually consider them to be like the like ocean's superfood. Like it's very sustainable to eat jellyfish. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's very easy to find a place where you can eat jellyfish, because it's not a very common food type. But it could be something that we might get into at some point, you know, in the future as we look for more sustainable ways to eat seafood, because apparently they are very nutritionally dense, but also their populations are incredibly dense as well. So I think got ferrets crawling all over the place. So yeah, and then, but it's pretty safe to assume too that like an animal that is that abundant in the ecosystem, not unlike mussels, is probably I got him. Probably pretty pretty important for the environment too. So like the wholesale wiping out of jellyfish would be a big problem, kind of like what we're having like off of our coast right now. Where all the mussels were dying off from the heat wave is going to cause a huge problem because just billions of mussels died. I don't know if you guys have any other input on the ecological importance of jellyfish.
You know what? This is one of these subjects that are just as new to me. Like, they're very fascinating creatures. But I mean, if we start turning this into sustenance, isn't it also a type of creature that could very rapidly start to deteriorate quite quickly?
Well, potentially. I guess that would sort of depend on the way in which they're caught, or if there's, if you start by sustainably catching them in the first place. But they do reproduce very quickly. They're broadcast. What's the word? Broadcast spawners, I think is the word. Because they basically just like. Oh no, KP After Dark is like trying to come out a little bit too early, but basically they just like release their eggs and their sperm into the water, and they just meet up, and then and so they're capable of reproducing very, very quickly. Whether or not at what point, or at what's the level at which they would have a difficulty keeping up is hard to say, but at this point in time, it's a incredibly sustainable type of food to eat, but it's also nobody really eats them. Not nobody, but very few people eat them.
Ew. And I mean, like you said, that area effect sort of breeding, which is like, hey, you're next to me. Everyone, let's have a party. Yeah. Would it be very... it is. It's basically a social party. Like, hey, guys.
My kind of party.
It's like, okay, relief. Yeah. Would it be something easy to breed in captivity?
Increasingly, yes. Previously, to I don't know, maybe 20, 30 years ago, not so much. It was definitely a kind of a newer thing that people were just starting to get into. But now, I mean, what we're watching now is Monterey Bay aquariums, jellyfish. I have another thing loaded up here for this is the Aquarium of the Pacific. The Vancouver Aquarium has jellyfish. Now, to be an aquarium, you essentially need to have a jellyfish exhibit. Like they're becoming iconic. So people have learned very quickly how to reproduce these guys, and it is very, very possible to do under human care. Yeah.
Yes, there's a question in chat, and I think it's going to be one of the questions in AMA, and one of the questions I want to ask. Isn't there an immortal jellyfish? I know this too, but it's very, very deep. It's an immortal jellyfish.
An immortal jellyfish?
There is.
I have not heard of this.
And it's very, very deep, though. It's one of those like fish that are underneath the water. Also known, don't even ask me how to pronounce it, but it's basically an immortal jellyfish that resets when damaged. It's like the gamer of jellyfish. It's nothing one survival, but I'll put up a picture for everyone. It looks very, but it's one of those.
Topus thorny?
Yes, is it? I wasn't even going to try butcher that. I was like,
is it actually immortal? That feels like
it's biologically an immortal jellyfish.
What the hell?
I remember.
Amazing. No, jellyfish are really incredible creatures.
Now, correct me if I'll probably correct it if I'm wrong.
It reloads. It reloads. It's like cafe, and it saves constantly. Does a cheeky save all the time, so that it always has something to reload to. Yeah.
It's like, guess what? I'm gonna be an immortal jellyfish, and I'm gonna reset myself. I just know that apparently it's because it obviously has no natural predators in that, and our whole basis for survival is based on the fact of reproducing. Like, we need to survive, and they're like, oh, there's nothing that can actually harm them, so they don't need to reproduce as much. So essentially, they become immortal. It's like some weird shit like that, and I'm like, excuse me, is that for real? I think it's okay.
The deep sea is something that is just so unbelievable.
All the
so unbelievable.
I put it up on there. It's like even invisible. It's got that sort of
Well, now that's just cheating. You're immortal and invisible. Well, shut up. You get one superpower.
It's basically got see-through. You can actually see its little nucleus, whatever the hell they call that. But
it's cheating.
The secret of
cheating.
It is. It is, as you said. It's a gamer that's constantly resetting. Doesn't get
It's OP. This jellyfish is OP.
Yeah. You would want this jellyfish in a rogue game, or to play a Road to Oregon.
Oh, it's so pretty. Okay.
Look at it.
Cool.
Anyway, So yeah. So thank you for bringing up
Oh,
that
well,
question.
that's fascinating. I did not know that.
It's immortal. There can be only one, but a lot at the same time. Moving on to the next
Okay.
question. Yeah.
Anyway.
Our next question is, how do jellyfish eat?
So they basically, so they, and I saw another question too here from Mish, so maybe it's like a similar question. They do all have stinging cells, so they're on these tentacles, but only some of them are going to be like really dangerous to people. They're called nematocysts, like the little so on each one of these
Our
there's
next
just billions of little stinging cells that will essentially like on impact inject venom. So there's a difference between venomous and poisonous. So poisonous would imply that if you ate it, it would be a problem, but
Yeah.
venomous is that they can like actually inject you with venom. So jellyfish are venomous. Although that's not to say I'm sure some of them are probably poisonous. I don't know. Well, we've got ones that are immortal, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, so essentially they catch their prey with these stinging cells, which are designed to just incapacitate them. And then they essentially just funnel their food towards what's basically just like I think in most species it's like a four-chambered stomach up here, which essentially just slowly digests the animal.
Which is
But it's a very yeah, it's a very primitive creature, obviously. It doesn't have a brain. And so it's yeah, so even the digestive system is like essentially just excreting digestive juices that just slowly digest the creature and provide energy for the animal. So and essentially like its mouth and its butthole are the same thing. Like it just has like one hole for like all things.
And we just did it. We managed to bring butthole into this
And
conversation.
we're back. We're back.
Now we have a normal stream. But
Yeah.
sounds like a terrible way to go, by the way. That is I just
Yeah.
slowly be
No problem.
paralyzed
Yeah.
and then digested by this beautiful creature that we watch as if like, oh, it's like
Yeah,
it's
jellyfish have no brains, just vibes. No brains, just vibes.
I like that. Oh gosh. Okay, moving on to the next question.
Well, our next question in relation to eating is, how do they digest poop and fart?
Well, I don't know that they fart. I don't know that they're I don't know that they're farters. I don't know that anybody's ever recorded a jellyfish fart. If you have, I'd be interested to
Yes.
see. Yeah, I mean like it's really hard to even understand these creatures because they're so far removed from everything that we are, right? But yeah, I mean like it's gonna be a very primitive like they're not going to digest things in the same way that we do. Like they're not going to digest it and then like plop out like the waste as a turd. They're probably
Yes.
just going to like it's going to look like basically a partially digested fish that gets left behind is essentially what you would see afterwards. So it's a very interesting animal, but it's like totally alien in nature, right?
Which, yeah, definitely alien in nature. I'm like, But I guess that also then helps the rest of Circle of Life, because I mean that fish then drops down to the bottom, and then other little crustaceans and other beautiful creatures get to have its leftovers. But
Sure, yeah.
But I just love how the farting question always comes in for animals. Like, do they?
I know.
Remember,
I
no
don't
buttholes.
know. I don't know. I don't think that jellyfish fart. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they don't.
I feel that would greatly I forget the word, but it will interfere with their propulsion, just in the way they're designed. But
So Double says that according to the Google, oysters, whelks, salamanders, mussels, crabs, so marine invertebrates, so that
Yes.
would include jellyfish,
Yes.
do not fart. Okay, they do not have butthole. Like the actual thing is they don't have buttholes. they can't fart.
The only one that does is one of our own wigglers in our chat, Jelly, who has an emoji con that apparently that's the only one. The profile picture has a jellyfish that farts. That's the only time. But yeah. Let's move on to the next question on the other side. But there we go.
Actually, there's a question from Mish. It's how can there be a four-chambered stomach when it just looks like an undulating seafood blob?
Yeah, I know, but like what it looks like is, you know, like I said, it's so much of this is just like it's completely different than what we're used to thinking of. Even their stomach is primitive, so it's not like four of our stomachs, right? It's something completely different. So, and if you really went to like dissecting them, and if you knew what you were doing, and had like, you know, some sort of like, you know, research background, then you would be able to see different structures inside the jellyfish. It does have different structures. It's just that they're so different from ours. And I don't know that they all have four-chambered stomachs, but I was just reading that many of them do. So yeah, I don't really know how else to describe it other than that it's indescribable. Like the creature is bizarre. It is like totally outside of our like wheelhouse, and so, but it's a really fascinating animal for sure.
And I know
and it is an animal. It is an animal.
It's in the kingdom of Animalia, because I never try
Animalia.
Yes, I never try to pronounce words like that. I feel like I'm insulting scientists everywhere. But you just mentioned a primitive stomach and things like that. But is it also the fact that maybe there's no need for them to evolve past their current state? It's like sort of like the shark thing. They're perfect.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously doing something, right? Some of them are immortal, for God's sake. So, like, once you reach immortality, like, what else is there? Like, do you, like, you can't get better than that, like, you know? So what do you do? So yeah, I mean, like, obviously, the jellyfish is doing all right for itself. So that's, you know, they're like, we don't need brains.
Yeah.
We're just a walking venomous eating breeding machine. Like this is working out really well for us. So
yes, and their breeding sounds fun. It sounds like a party. But I'd hate to know how the sting of an immortal jellyfish is, considering that no one wants to mess with it and be a natural predator. Someone, scientist, send a memo out. Just experiment with that. Go get stung by those jellyfish, because.
You know what's like the coolest jelly? They're in a slightly different family than like Cnidaria. Cnidaria is the like the I guess it would be the genus, I believe, that jellyfish are in. The Ctenophora, which are the comb jellies, are actually in a little bit of a different family, but they are those ones that have like almost like the fluorescent sort of like flagella that like wiggle along the outside
like
of it.
Like the little lighting.
Yes,
like they've
so
installed
beautiful.
a keyboard or something. Those really fancy keyboards.
Yeah, they're RGB. Yeah.
Yes, RGB keyboards. Those are really cool. Yes, I'm just googling now. I'll send it. Put up a picture. But those are so cool. The next question.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Looking at the immortal jellyfish, they are not poisonous.
How are they managing to have such a good rep?
Venomous?
Not venomous. Yeah.
Okay.
I almost don't want to believe that. It's like, okay.
It says they're not venomous, but they can sting.
Okay. What?
Well, because I think that it's like whether or not they're venomous to people, right? Is a little bit of a different thing, because all of these guys sting to kill their food, but but what's venomous to us may not be venomous necessarily to. That's why you don't not everybody dies from like any old jellyfish sting. It's just certain types. So
it's just the way they
phrase it.
It's not venomous, but it can sting. I'm like, okay, so then it's
yeah.
poisonous? I guess the correct thing is, as you said, it's not venomous to us.
I believe that's
yeah.
Or I don't know, like maybe yeah.
How can something sting but not be venomous?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
My brain's
maybe they just like it's just like a little harpoon, just grabs them.
Because it's like trying to think of time travel. How is this possible?
Yeah, yeah. It's moving towards the next step of evolution. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to build a time machine next because I'm immortal. So.
Yes. Okay, next question.
Next question is, if jellyfish don't have brains, why do they need sleep?
Do they sleep?
Yeah.
Apparently they do sleep.
Interesting.
Is that not just also
but
sleep as a part of just recharging?
Everything I read, nobody knows the purpose of their sleep, but they do sleep.
Cool. Well, I mean, this is what I mean, right, guys? Is like nobody knows jellyfish, man. No. Like, what is this? This is madness. But I would imagine though that even if you don't have a brain, like your muscles and things like that still get tired. And I know they don't really have muscles. I don't know.
I'm thinking it's like maybe it's the same reason. Is it not the same reason we sleep? Is that's the time that we repair our bodies and heal? Because, I mean, they're jellyfish. They're not exactly winning on the I'm extremely strong type thing. I mean, anything could...
Yeah.
That's my only,
maybe
scientific assumption that comes pulling it out my ass.
I mean, maybe, too, like... I mean, they don't have a brain, but they do have a nerve net. Like, they do have a nervous system. So, even if they don't have a brain, they've still got, neurons and things like that potentially need a little rest. But that's a great question. I to be honest with you, I would have told you that jellyfish don't sleep, but apparently they do. So jellyfish sleep and they do not have buttholes, and so far that is where we're at. And that means that they don't.
Immortal.
Some of them are immortal, and they don't fart either because you need a butthole to fart, and that's what we've learned so far today, which is really fascinating.
Which is a weird collection of facts. People might think we're junkies. They'll get into this conversation in the wrong part. They don't fart. They're immortal. They do area of effect breeding.
These are all the most important questions, and we are answering them here.
Absolutely.
So
only here.
Yeah. Love it. Anyway, let's move on to the next question that I have no idea what the answer is to.
The next question is, if jellyfish don't have a central nervous system, how are they able to react to stimulus?
But we just established they do.
Well, they don't have a central nervous system. They have, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they have what's called a nerve net. So it's essentially just like the entire area has like just some nerves.
Just nerves.
So it like opposed to humans who have obviously a brain and a spinal cord that is your like central nervous system, and then things that branch out from there. So there's almost like a home base for us and our nerves. But jellyfish is just kind of like a that just sums up jellyfish. And so why it is that like they can still respond to stimuli because they can still feel things. It's just not necessarily that like I imagine it's like just not necessarily that they're thinking about their actions, right? Like there's not a lot of thinking going on. Yeah, but there is the like, oh hey, that hurts, or oh hey, I don't want to touch that. I'm gonna move away from that. And
I feel
but even then, like I don't think that they do that very quickly. Like they're not very like
they're not
it's not very like
race. Let me get out of here.
But
I think they would need to react a lot, because if you've ever seen one grab a fish, those tentacles roll up like fucking window blinds. Sorry for swearing, but it's like so intense and fast. They just pull that thing in, and that's based on the contact that they make. So
so I think that most of that, like you said, is just an instinctual. This is what happens when I pull the food in, sort of a thing.
Which is most the reason why they wrap around humans. It's not
here. My chat is very obsessed with the farting situation.
Same,
but so here's what I think. in order to be classified as a fart, it has to come out of a butthole. So I'm not saying that there isn't gas release, because I think anytime you do digestion, there is some sort of gas release.
Yeah.
But I think that a fart, by definition,
But
has to be.
what about that thing
Yeah,
that
well,
hippos
some
fart
animals
from their
don't fart.
mouth? Which is
No, that was
disgusting.
sloths, wasn't it?
One of them is hippos. I don't know if correctly, but a long time
The
ago. I know
sloth,
this is a myth.
I think.
I think it was a sloth. The sloth doesn't fart
Yeah.
either.
Well,
Because
that's
their
because it
digestion is
digests
so
gas from their
slow.
mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a mistake. It's a myth. It's Mandela syndrome. It's Mandela syndrome. Hippos don't fall through the mouth.
Okay.
But it is
I'm glad we
something.
cleared that up. So I'm sure there is gas release in the digestion, but in order for it to be considered a fart, it needs to come out of the butthole.
We need to see the
That's
bubbles
what we-
also emerge from there. But also, by the way, just going back to immortal fish and buttholes, someone posted my chat, which was hilarious. Now I need to find it because it was funny. In order to be immortal, I think we need to evolve away from buttholes. If humans become immortal, that's one thing we need to abolish from our system.
Okay, yeah, we gotta get rid of buttholes, and then we can all be immortal.
It's very unnecessary.
Oh, but then what would we talk about in this chat?
True. But we would be immortal. I think we'd be talking about more profound things too.
Maybe. I don't know that jellyfish is has a lot of profound thoughts.
Yes.
Just because it lives forever.
No, definitely not. I think it's
Anyway, we're gonna be here for 16 years talking about jellyfish.
Let's move on. Only here we'll make a topic that doesn't sound interesting very interesting. That's why you all here.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Our next question is, how are jellyfish beneficial to the ocean?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that anything that exists in this kind of numbers is keeping certain populations of things in check, and is also a very important food source, right? A lot of animals eat jellyfish. Not only animals like sea turtles. Sea turtles eat a lot of jellyfish, which is actually like we talked about, it's actually a very nutritionally dense food. But part of the problem is that I don't know if you can kind of use your imagination a little bit, but as you're looking at jellyfish, they also look an awful lot like plastic bags.
Yes.
So sea turtles ingest enormous amounts, and other animals ingest enormous amounts of plastic, most likely being a mistaken identity with jellyfish. Several different types of whale and dolphin species rely heavily on jellyfish for food. So yeah, I mean, jellyfish almost because of like we were talking about with the different animals like mollusks. Because of their sheer numbers, are just are like sort of a foundation species, because there's so many of them that they are providing for enormous amounts of other creatures in the ocean. So jellyfish are very, very important as a food source, as well as sort of a cleanup crew. Yeah, so there you go. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's essential. That's the biggest reason we have problems down here with seals in Cape Town, and that is mistaking jellyfish and stuff for food. Someone posted here, very interesting fact, going back to about the difference between a stinging and being venomous when it's not, which I thank you for that user for that. Regarding stinging and venom found on a Smithsonian site. I can't speak today, people. There are small compartments that house a mini needle-like stinger. When an outside force triggers a stinger, the cell opens, letting ocean water rush in. These causes the stinger to shoot out into what triggered the action. Once it's there, venom is released. So it is venomous. All of this happens within a millionth of a second. Though the venom of most jellyfish is harmful, some can be deadly. Okay, so they have little stingers. Oh god, that just made jellyfish 100 million times worse.
No, that's what I was. That's what
Yeah.
I was talking about in the beginning. Every single
Yes.
one of these tentacles has just millions of what's called
Oof.
nematocysts on it, and they're essentially like spring-loaded venom harpoons. So if you really look up very very close, and you can actually find really interesting footage of watching the stingers sting, because even when they're not attached to the jellyfish, they'll still continue to sting. And this is part of the problem too, right? Is people get the tentacles on them, and then the tentacles are there, and the tentacles are still just like firing off. So even when they're not attached to the jellyfish. So yeah, basically it's like it's got like this little coiled it's essentially just a spring-loaded harpoon, and it just fires into whatever, which is supposed to be fish and other things that the jellyfish wants to eat. But unfortunately, if people come into contact with it, that can be a problem as well. So yeah, nematocysts will kick your butt.
And I was about to say, I thought that was answering the question, like, how can something sting but not be venomous? I'm like, there we go, yeah. But yeah, venomous doesn't mean lethal. No, we never said it was lethal at all. Venomous doesn't mean lethal. Unless you have allergic reaction. That's like with blue bottles and that, and jellyfish. If you're allergic, you can actually die from it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a thing down here. My mom's allergic to blue bottles, so that's a great thing when she wants to go into the ocean. So, blue bottles are Portuguese men of war. But there we go. Yeah, sorry, I thought that was answering the question, like, how could it be both? But anyway, moving on to the next question.
Okay, so the next question was, how do jellyfish reproduce? But I know we kind of went over it, and I did see something that said they also reproduce asexually.
Well, so jellyfish reproduction, we kind of talked a little bit about that. We talked about the broadcast spawning, but there's many different stages to jellyfish reproduction. So what we're watching on live cam, and I assume what JJ is watching as well, is the Medusa stage, which is the sexually mature stage of a jellyfish. So what then happens is, like, either by sperm and egg, or also asexually, basically they are making polyps, I believe is what the technical term is. So the polyps kind of just like a larval stage of a jellyfish, essentially, and then they will head down and like actually attach themselves to the ocean floor. So jellyfish have like a sedentary stage in their life, and that's called the I think it starts with an N, some sort of like anyway. They essentially grow like a stalk, and then they grow these like little like looks like upside down little flowers, which are essentially just a number of these guys, and then they shed those, and then those become the sexually mature medusa that we know as jellyfish. But there is an entire part of a jellyfish's life that is actually spent attached to the ocean floor, in a different sort of, like, they almost look like anemones when they're down there a little bit, but a little bit different than that. So yeah, the reproduction is very, very odd, just like everything else about the jellyfish. But hopefully that kind of answers the question. I know we talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but I don't think we had talked fully about the polyp and the sort of like stalk stage. I wish I could remember what it was called. I believe that it starts with an N, but I'm not really 100% sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to give you false information. I could probably find it if I looked. But
so there's the going back to debate here. They're saying first question is, are not box jellyfish deadly? I think we slightly spoke about it at the beginning. And I think this all depends on the jellyfish and your reaction to the sting. Because if you're allergic, you absolutely can die.
Yeah, box jellyfish, they can absolutely be deadly, but not in every case.
Yeah.
And some of it too is going to very much depend on like how where you get bit,
Yes.
but or stung, I should say, not bit. But also, look, somebody's playing with their phone in front of my live cam here. And then also your resistance to the jellyfish sting, and so this is kind of the same thing with like wasps. and this can change throughout your life too. Like even if you got stung at one point, didn't really have much of a reaction, the next time you're like, oh, that's a little bit worse than the last time, and then the next time you're full anaphylaxis. And that can absolutely happen as well. So same with like I'm allergic to yellow jackets, for instance, and I had been stung by them several times in my childhood, never had any issues.
But now,
And then so it's almost like your body has like kind of a reserve of like resistance to these types of things. And then you can kind of deplete that as you get older, but that depends greatly on you as a person. Like we all of us have individual sort of like resistances to certain things. So box jellyfish are the most deadly of the jellyfish, but that doesn't mean that you are going to die if you get stung by a jellyfish.
We just had Rhea who got stung when she mentioned it. It was extremely painful, and thank God we still were with her. It's like
the sea wasp, I think, is the Portuguese man of war. Isn't that considered the same thing?
Jeez, we're actually having a bit of a debate on our side. Portuguese man of war. Portuguese man of war are also known as blue bottles, which is what we call them in South Africa, because they're all over Mozambique. And anytime there's a northeast current, we're stuffed in South Africa because they just come over. But they're also known as a floating terror. I've never heard them called that before. Sea wasps.
I heard, or I read a little bit about the sea wasp.
Yeah, because
sea wasp. Sorry, sea wasp is a box jellyfish. It's called this.
Okay.
It's the same thing. So that's what it is. So monster the mink.
Someone was on point when they named that. The one time I'm going to give scientists a credit for naming it, like that felt like a wasp. That is a sea wasp. Like okay,
yeah.
That one. But there we go. But I'm also preemptively answering the other questions, like is a blue bottle. They've never been stung by blue bottles. I think maybe you were joking about that, Stephen. But yeah, I've been stung by blue bottles. They are not fun, and they are jellyfish. They're not jellyfish. They're Portuguese man of war. They are blue bottles.
They look like empanadas. They do. They look like little blue empanadas. Yeah, blue bottles, Evie, are the Portuguese man of war. Named, I don't know why they call them the Portuguese man of war, but
something to do with the ship.
Okay, but if you look at them, this is why they're called that, because they look like they're blue,
because they look like the old caravel that the Portuguese used to have. And I know this because they live Portuguese colony, but they named the Portuguese man of war because they have a resemblance to a full-sailed ship, which at the time was obviously Portuguese discovering these things sailing around the coast. So that's why they're known as a Portuguese man of war. A little fun fact.
But there we go.
I added something to the AML value. Oh my gosh.
Good job.
Thank you. POB, pat on the back. Moving on to the next question.
Our next question is, how does the warming of the oceans affect the population of jellyfish?
Oh, man. Yeah. You guys.
Come on.
I don't know.
I want to know.
That's a great question, and to be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, like all of these things, it's probably, that like it's probably in ways that you could never even possibly have predicted. Like, I don't know, maybe their eggs are only able to be, or lose their viability once the temperatures in the water get too high, and so we'd have a mass die-off of their eggs, and then there's an entire generation missing of jellyfish, something like that. I would not be surprised if like you Googled it and that came up, because those are the types of things that usually are happening, or maybe like their central nervous system just stops functioning at certain temperatures and then it's just over for them. So I mean, it's those types of things are so hard to predict, but yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know the exact,
well, according
what
to
exactly has come up.
Multiple, because you never click on just one link, people. That's how you get in trouble on the internet. According to multiple links, warm water or changes in temperature in the ocean actually increases jellyfish populations because the warm water actually makes their metabolism go faster and actually grow faster quicker. So
Okay.
they absorb 93% of excess heat. Holy shit. But yeah, so it actually increases the jellyfish population. So we go back to the sustenance. We make the planet warm up and we'll have food in the ocean forever.
Yeah,
helping.
but then we run into what happens when you have so many jellyfish.
Yes,
Then you
yes.
have a decrease in a number of other things, and
Other
so
things.
it's all connected.
Balance.
But that's very interesting. So for jellyfish, things getting warmer might actually be better, but then worse for the rest of the planet.
Absolutely, because you're messing with that balance. The balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Yeah, next question.
Oh, well, our next question we have already pretty much covered. It's, are jellyfish venomous?
Yes.
And moving on. This one was, are some jellyfish endangered?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Let's Google it.
I only found one.
Okay, Reha already Googled it.
The one that I found is a freshwater jellyfish known as the water panda.
The water panda. Okay, now we go back to the names again.
Adorable. The water panda. Amazing. Does it look at all like a panda?
Yeah, I'm googling it now because I want to see. And it has no business to be in fresh water.
Yeah, honestly, like, okay, well, this is what happened when I Googled it, so do with that what you will.
Pandas in water.
I googled water panda and got some horrible things. Oh, they're so small.
Yeah, they're very. I don't know why somebody has it in
they're so cute.
They look like little. Okay, unfortunately, it's not giving me images, but to everyone, they look like little see-through cogwheels that you can put in a wine glass, basically. Not KP's wine glass.
So cute.
Just
yeah, don't put them in my
I've
wine.
got a picture here where it's in a wine glass. They're so small.
How can a blob look cute? Ebby, look at it. They're adorable.
They kind of do. They got this like little shape about them that is. Why are they called water pandas though?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit bizarre. Interesting though. I did not know that there were any freshwater species of jellyfish.
There goes my kayaking trip. Not joking, but it's like more reasons not to get in the water, as someone said earlier in chat. I got one question here, which is related because you see, is how do they avoid predators if they're so colorful? Or are there any natural? In the same question, are there any natural predators to jellyfish? And how do they avoid predators if they're so colorful? But is the color not just because of what the aquariums are doing, or are they naturally so beautiful?
No, like these ones that we're looking at are this color. I believe and these guys too. This is just their natural color, which is like a white clear. So you know what? Like, not every creature's sort of adaptation for species survival is predatory evasion. So jellyfish went a different route. They went the mass reproduction route. So they don't have a lot of things evolved and in place to avoid predators, because that's not their style. Like, their style is just that we're all going to reproduce so much that it won't really matter, and our genes are going to pass on to the next generation. But there are some like animals like the blue bottle and some other creatures that do have a distinctive coloration that could potentially be like a tip off to other creatures that, hey, I'm venomous. Kind of like the poison dart frogs that are a vibrant shade of blue or red or orange, to show predators, listen, if you eat me, you're gonna have some serious issues. So that could be taking place as well, but essentially there's no evasive. They don't have evasive maneuvers. It's not a setting
they don't exactly
that they have
speed on this side.
yeah.
But yeah, but they do have natural predators. But I think it also answers the question is that they do have people that like to nums them.
Yeah, and that's just sort of like their species has just decided that that's just sort of okay. We'll just just mass reproduce, and a lot of us will be eaten. But that is the way of the jellyfish.
Because remember, they don't have any brains, so that's
That
as
makes
their
sense.
thought goes. It's like just mass produce.
Yeah.
No plans for invasion.
It is the way.
Oh well. Problem solved. Next
Uh,
question.
Our next question is, are there any aquariums that have what is considered the most dangerous jellyfish, the Chironex fleckery, on exhibit?
What?
I thought the
That
box
is the
jellyfish was the most.
Australian box jellyfish.
Australia.
Is what this
Yeah, of
is.
course. Okay. It would live in Australia. I don't know the answer to that question. The Google might know, but for me, like my thought would be that there would probably be no real reason for an aquarium to like house that species. Like, why do you even want to like take those kinds of risks? Maybe they do, like, just I don't know, but like for the most part, the jellyfish that are housed in aquariums are just like the most beautiful, and not typically like the most venomous, because aquarists don't want to get stung either. And I imagine that most aquariums wouldn't want to have like that sort of liability on their hands, you know.
Just wouldn't be fun.
But yeah, but it's but I don't honestly know. Did you Google it, Reha?
I did. No one has it on exhibit.
Okay.
But they do make anti-venom from them, and the way you do it is you have to pick it up by the bell part with your hands and then cut off the tentacles.
Good God.
Yeah. I've seen that. And then they like drop them into like little vials and like spin it down and get some anti-venom that way. So that makes sense. They do have them under human care because they're trying to provide anti-venom for that to save lives. But basically, Australia is the stuff of nightmares. There's just about anything can kill you over there. So
yeah,
it's probably why the crime rate's so low. Like, oh my, everything else is destroying us. Please, let's not kill each other. Got a lot of shit going around here.
That was a pretty good accent.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's why Hardy's not Australian. Everyone keeps saying, Hardy's Australian. He's not Australian in my TAS talks. But anyway, moving on. Next question.
Our next question is, what do you do if you are stung by a jellyfish?
Okay. What you don't do is you don't pee on it. Do not pee on it. Do not let your friends pee on you. No pee-pee.
No pee-pee.
So there's actually been science that suggests that peeing on it will make it worse.
Yes, it does.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
And it also we were looking into this. It depends a little bit on the type of jellyfish. Friends don't let friends pee on each other. And so the general knowledge is that the best thing to do is to take like something like a credit card or something and like scrape at the area, because you want to try to get off as many of those nematocysts as possible. And that's going to sort of help. It seems like for every jellyfish sting, hot water will help, which is what you said you did, right, Reha?
Yeah.
So it seems like hot water's a pretty safe bet. If you do get stung by a box jellyfish, vinegar will also help. It stops the nematocysts from stinging, because that's the problem, right? Is that you've been stung, but now you're going to continue to get stung for as long as there are those tiny microscopic things on your hands. They're just going to keep stinging you.
But yes.
Libero, our very own Reha was stung by a box jellyfish. She's a survivor.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we know not everyone dies. But how painful was it, Reha, though? Like, when you
it literally felt like my arm was on fucking fire. Like, sorry for the profanity, but when I got stung, it pretty much went around 2 of my fingers all the way up to my elbow.
Oh.
And it basically really felt like my arm was on fire the
Oy.
entire time.
How helpful was Taco in this emergency situation?
Well, Taco and I weren't together during that time.
Okay, but how helpful would he have been? On a scale of totally screaming, losing his mind to very helpful in an
So-
emergency situation.
Amazingly, Taco is actually a trained EMT.
So he would have been
he's
very helpful.
Yeah, he's
But
actually
would he-
helpful in emergencies.
Would he have taken advantage of you and used this opportunity to pee on you?
Oh my gosh.
He
Ooh, time to be on.
no, he would
No?
have
Okay.
mansplained. He would have mansplained
Oh.
to me about why you don't pee on somebody, and then I
Okay.
just would have cursed him
I'm
and
just
whatnot in the
gonna
usual
have-
nature.
To change
Okay.
my
So-
rating of monetization now.
So yes, Monster of the Mink in some cases, high acidity stuff does help, like I said, with the box jellyfish. But I was also reading that for like the Portuguese man of war, it may actually make it worse. So this is why it depends on the species. With some species, that acid may actually cause more stinging to happen. So for the Portuguese man of war, I believe is what I read. But yeah. So general knowledge. So if you know you've been stung by a box jellyfish, like easy peasy. Scrape it, hot water. And then vinegar is probably going to help. Portuguese man of war, I imagine, just scrape it, hot water, and of course, like, seek medical attention, people.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? As long as you don't pee on each other, it's
stop
probably
doing
going to
that.
be okay.
In general,
Yeah,
by the way.
you
Seriously.
sickos, you weirdos,
For the Portuguese man
knock
of
it
war-
off.
But this, I mean, just the last time I went to the beach was in the 90s, like where we got stung. I'm not saying. They did use vinegar and things like that, and for some reason, it never helped the stinging, but it reduced the swelling. But what they used to do is that they used to have aloe vera, but I mean like break the parts and then rub it. And that used to be what they say used to help. But they used to spray bottles of vinegar, but it was diluted. And I was like, it's still burning, but I feel better.
I think after you've really cleaned it up, like hot water and all that stuff, aloe vera, or also if you've got some hydrocortisone cream, will also help you. But yeah, so that's basically my advice to you. And then Minnie Mama's saying that in the US you can call poison control and they will advise you what to do based on your area. They'll have an idea of what you've been stung by and what you can do about it. But yeah, don't panic and don't piss on each other.
Yeah, ever. In general, not even with blue bottles, people. Seriously, that should not be a category anyway.
Yeah. So basically, just cut off your arm because it's the only thing to do. Even if you were stung on the leg, cut off your arm, and then just that's my advice. No,
you're done.
Don't follow it.
But it does hurt. Yeah, a lot of stinging things here. Zap. Moving on to the next question.
Our next question is, if you see jellyfish on the shore, is it okay to put them back in the water?
I wouldn't.
Never want to have
Yeah, I wouldn't. And like, honestly, like, I know it's like we always want to like save things, but this is a part of the life cycle of these. We were also reading that most people get stung because of jellyfish that are on a beach. They're not even in the water. They're on the beach. So just don't pick them up. You know what? This is an important part of the life cycle. Some animals are going to come by and they're going to eat those jellyfish, and that's going to provide them with with sustenance and nutrients. The jellyfish are not like suffering. Again, they don't have brains. So it's not. And honestly, they're probably already dead. If they washed up on a beach, they're probably already dead. So there's really no point to putting them back except for like risking yourself and potentially getting stung. So
and there's the other thing is
don't poke it with a stick.
Actually, when they end up on shore, and I've seen this and I have photos, I'll try to find them. They actually provide a lot of sustenance for the beach front dwelling creatures, including really disgusting and scary looking starfish. Like,
Oh, yeah,
So-
yeah. Okay.
we've actually been taught don't remove the jellyfish because they provide a very, very vital food source to a lot of these starfish and crabs that live. Yes, when you walk down to the beach, everyone, you go for a swim. There's creatures underneath your feet that you don't know. They're there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't jellyfish have also like those like you? I wouldn't say they're invisible tentacles, but they actually expand quite fast. So if you're picking it up, you don't know that you're not grabbing a part that's non-stingy,
Yeah.
but it's basically wrapping around you.
And even if the jellyfish is dead, like I said, those tentacles are going to continue to
Yes,
sting.
yes, you did,
So
yes.
there's just really
Good.
there's no advantage in you. It's a part of their life cycle, and they're providing food for other creatures. So no, don't just go ahead and leave the jellyfish.
Yes.
And always look for
No
signs
touchy.
if it's season for jellyfish. Like we have seasons literally for.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
The
talking about
amount of
seasoning
war-
them
Oh,
like for
with salt, pepper,
snacks.
some
I was like,
coriander.
yeah, some soy sauce
I mean,
maybe.
They
I don't know. A
came
little
out of the
sesame
ocean.
oil.
They're pre-seasoned.
Yeah, they're already
They
salted.
They taste really salty anyway, so
Mhm.
delicious.
But
yeah,
no, but
like,
in
we
reality,
we have seasons for them.
yeah, right. So keep an eye on that.
I think-
In reality too, like if you haven't tried jellyfish, I recommend trying it. If you like seaweed salad, that's almost exactly what it tastes like, and it's delicious.
I actually wonder if I'd be allergic to jellyfish because I'm allergic to seafood of all well, not just seafood but freshwater fish and shellfish. I wonder if jellyfish would
Oh,
fall
it's-
into that category.
I don't know, but it's probably not worth trying.
Exactly. I'd probably do it in the waiting room of the hospital. Like, hey guys, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have jellyfish. If you see me going flopping around like a fish, save
Yeah.
me. But yeah,
Yeah.
Just eat it with the epinephrine,
Right
like
next to me.
tapped into your bloodstream.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's interesting. I'm starting to also think, by the way, off topic, that Ray, that your seasonal cycles with whales and jellyfish definitely connect to ours because we also have seasonal
It probably
jellyfish.
does because we have like box jellyfish season, then we have man of war
Oh
season,
yeah, we get up there.
and
Yeah. Scary off-topic things. You would have the Pacific
Anyway.
Man of War, wouldn't you? That's like same species, but anyway, off
Yeah.
topic. Yeah, sorry. Moving on to the next question.
actually, that's all we have.
Ooh. So I wanted to get my interesting fact about because that's one of my favorite things about the Portuguese man of war is that a Portuguese man of war, and KP corrected me at the beginning, by the way, is that a Portuguese man of war is actually a collection of organisms. It's not they're a family.
I believe so. I believe
Yes,
so.
of zoids, not jellyfish.
Okay.
Portuguese man of war, they're a collection of individual creatures that are just holding hands and living together in harmony to sting you.
D-Fire wants to know that if you eat jellyfish and you have a reaction, if we can pee on you.
D-Fire, so D-Fire was the one that put the comment earlier that we if we evolve enough, we shouldn't have buttholes. So I'm not surprised that would come up. No one can pee on me, please. I barely don't like peeing on myself accidentally if I was ever drunk in the past. It's like, oh God, no,
Oh my God.
shower. So no, just leave me. Whatever happens, happens. You know, nature take its course. If no one can save me, it's fine.
As long as we don't pee on him, he's fine. He doesn't want his last memories to be of all of us peeing on him.
That is not the nice way I want to go. Oh, Jason didn't make it. First of all, he died in the worst kind of way with a jellyfish, but we all peed on him before he went.
Yeah.
They're like the Borg. Yes, Stephen. Resistance is futile. They have a collective mind. But no, yes. Okay, we have a question. Do they ever get their tentacles tangled?
Yeah, for sure. Like their tentacles are capable of regrowing.
Yes.
So if parts of them come off or whatever, that is just a part of them, and they'll regrow it.
The self-healing.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, their self-healing system.
But with the fact they have no brains, they won't actually complain about it. They just like, just regrow and breed. So, this has been a very interesting topic, and I'm so glad it ended with everyone imagining themselves peeing on me because I got stung by many Portuguese men of war. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to change
Yeah.
my monetization again. But thank you very much, everyone, for asking questions. I'm trying to see if we actually missed any questions here, because this was one of those.
Oh, before we go, we
Mhm.
need to say happy birthday to Beans.
Beans! Okay.
Happy
Are you ready?
birthday. Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Beans. Happy birthday to you.
Birthday to you.
And if anyone says hip hip, no, I'm not doing it.
No, that was lovely.
Yes.
That was harmony.
And perfectly in sync.
Like, we should join a choir.
I think so. We were like blue bottles where we formed an organism
Yeah.
that sang
We
so beautifully.
cohesively came together. That was absolutely the most gorgeous rendition of Happy Birthday that I've ever
Someone clip that, but on
had the
Katie's
privilege
channel. Yeah, clip it on Katie's channel.
had the privilege of being a part of.
Thank you.
Yeah, clip that. Don't clip the P on you talk because
Maddie grew up eating jellyfish and she says it's very crunchy. Ugh.
it's kind of like, but crunchy in the way that like seaweed salad is. Like it's not in the way that like fried bacon is. Like it's a little different,
Okay.
but.
Thank
yeah.
you. Are you going to be streaming
You
off
seem
Tuesday?
very concerned about the jellyfish.
No, it doesn't compute in my brain. It's just like it looks like it's squishy. I've touched jellyfish before on the dome, and I'm like, can you eat that? And some of it is really gelatin-like. You can actually wobble it, and it's very stern, like silicone implants. I'm sorry to say that, but it really feels like that. It's
The sheer fact that you know what silicone implants feel
I would have never ever in a million years have guessed that that breast implants were going to make their way into this.
Well, buttholes did, and we know jellyfish don't have any. So.
But buttholes, that's very like we.
That's normal.
And to go on Ray's thing of like, I don't think you like. I suspect I would know what silicone implants would feel like. It's because there are other things that are made from silicon that don't necessarily go there, but are basically in the same formula. And you know, I also know Paris is the capital of France. I've never been there, so you just know.
I'm just saying that implants were a very specific item.
So people know what it looks like and the consistency, and some people may relate. And I'm just like, that's what it feels like when you grab a dome of a jellyfish. Okay. I'm so glad this all ended with me. Gosh, it's like I know we're the capital of Paris. It doesn't mean I've actually felt one.
Somebody's going around feeling implants going, this one feels a little too gelatinous.
Yes, it's too much like a jellyfish dome. No, I wouldn't use this. It feels unsafe. Oh gosh, the human jelly syrup. Now, jelly, you missed the entire show. They are delicious.
Yes.
But yeah,
to answer your question, I am streaming after this for at least a little while.
And we can cover. I'm so glad that I get to end the stream after everyone wants to pee on me and is questioning where I know how they feel like. I've done this to myself clearly.
You only have yourself to blame.
Are you releasing any videos coming up soon? You've released some interesting ones lately, by the way.
Yeah, we will put together some sort of adorable short this week, and then I believe we're actually gonna do a pretty commonly asked question, and a lot of you guys will probably already know it because anybody who watches our live streams is pretty well versed in this, but a lot of my other followers on Instagram or on TikTok don't necessarily know about the differences between seals and sea lions and how to tell them apart.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
And then I think eventually too, in the next coming weeks, we're gonna start a little segment of like you know, how the names of these creatures are so messed up. You know, jellyfish isn't a fish, seahorse not a horse, actually a fish, sort of things like that. So
and you know I have a problem with that, so I'm going to watch that.
False killer whale, not only not a whale, not a but it is actually a dolphin and is also not false.
Yes, a killer whale is a dolphin. A false killer whale is not actually a killer whale. That is a dolphin. Oh God, please! I'll watch that 100%. I need to know these things. But thank you so much, and thank you for the one. Go watch the one about artists eating a shark. My God.
Yes, that one was pretty good.
By the way, how long does it take you to make those screenshots of yourself? Because you always have that your screenshot of you. The PNG always fits into context, and that one you're just like, what the hell? It's like, how many of those do you have to go through? A bit of the
Well, so
lore.
sometimes we plan them, and sometimes so we take them specifically for the thumbnail, but sometimes we forget, and Double just takes a screen grab, and we go through, like, he comes in, like, finds me, and he's like, how about this one? And I'm like, wow, I look like a troll. So please find something else. And so we go through many before we find the one that works for sure.
But yeah, but thank you so much. Maddie, I see your question there, but pop over into Wine and Win's chat to ask that question as well. She'll be better equipped to answer that because I also need to jump off. But thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Reha. Thank you, Tessa. Thank you, Dekabaj. And thank you, Deefa, for also moderating on my side.
See
All
you
three of
guys
you
later.
ladies. And
See you next week.
Thank you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.